Hi, I'm currently in the process of moving and looking for my own apartment, and that's the reason why my mic is so shit. I tried my best to fix the audio. There's currently like 50 fucking pillows around me and a weighted blanket on me. But, you know, it is what it is. Is that a fucking train? Oh my god! Ever since Dead by Daylight started adding more killers, it was inevitable that we get a vampire at some point, be it an original one or a licensed one, like Nosferatu or, I don't know, Laszlo.
But as the old saying goes, I didn't come here to make friends. Well, that's bullshit. That's exactly what I came here to do.
But I, sure as hell, wasn't expecting the genocide-committing, narcissistic, depressed Castlevania version of Dracula being added to the game, which is really fucking cool. Now, I have to admit, when it comes to the Castlevania series, I've only seen the show. So when it comes to viewing this chapter as how faithful it is to a license, how it's executed, then I think they got it right. The only thing that I recognize is Dracula's voice. He's voiced by Crispin Freeman, who voiced Alucard in Hellsing, a character that I adore. I know very little, barely fuck all about Castlevania, but I have seen the abridged version of the Hellsing series, so I've decided to cater to that instead. And yes, I am not sorry.
Hey there, Padre, how's little Timmy? You know what's good for getting cum stains out of altar boy robes? Holy water! Did you miss me?
Party, 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 I wanna have a party. I need to have a party. You better have a party. Oh, party, 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 you gotta party hardy. I'm gonna have a party, or else you won't stop.
Hello everyone! Welcome to my new, completely original video series, The Unintelligent Killer Meta, where I look at Dead by Daylight's killer roster. Now, I only have 250 hours on this game, which might sound like a lot to anyone who works full-time, but for the DBD community, I'm practically still a sperm. So in this series, I'm here to talk about how fun a killer is. If you want the comp meta on how to play most efficiently as a specific killer, well, then you're in the wrong place. Quite frankly, I don't know what the fuck the meta is for each killer. Not every DBD match is life or death for me, I just want to have fun. And if you do too, sit down, subscribe, let's get into it. Today, we're gonna start out with DBD's newest killer, Dracula.
The Dark Lord is here!
After 9 years of waiting for him and this extremely influential franchise's BTB being overshadowed by Dead by Daylight actually being fun for once, and Friday to fucking Freddy's! This chapter, with so much stuff overshadowing it, is somehow one of the best, if not the best licensed chapters they have ever made. I absolutely adore this chapter. I'm not that into Castlevania, but I don't have to be to see the amount of love they put into this update. And I didn't have to play Castlevania to appreciate the addition of Dracula and my wife Alucard into this game. Not that one, that's gonna be a bit confusing for this video. But I'm not here to talk about that traumatized bottom, I'm here to talk about the Crimson Fucker. And personally, I fucking love him. Dead by Daylight has added my favorite killer this year, and now added one that might be in my top 5. Dracula is just so fucking cool. His design is great. His powers are sick. He's fun to play as and against. His perks are ass. His theme song is... Dracula is probably like a B tier killer, more likely A if I had to imagine what the comp players might say. But for me, he's S because he's just so fun. His gameplay design isn't really that complicated, but he's definitely versatile, and that's what he shines best at, because he's a shapeshifter. I doubt anyone saw Dracula being a fucking shapeshifter and turning into a German shepherd, but either way, his shape-shifting power allows for a lot of freedom when it comes to approaching a match, depending on what kinds of survivors you are facing, because each form he has a use. Dracula can transform into 3 things: a bat, a wolf, and into a
Real fucking vampire.
His vampire/default form is essentially Nemesis without the zombies, infection mechanic, and instead of a long tentacle, you have a slower but kinda cool pillars of fucking 5. The bat form is essentially the spirit. You can't see the survivors, but you become a lot faster. You can see the survivors' scratch marks, and you can teleport to windows and drop pallets. In the wolf form, you are able to run a little little faster and are able to see survivors' blood on the floor better. And in Chase, survivors drop these weird orbs that when interacted with give you bloodlust, which makes you even faster, and in this form you'll also have a pounce attack where you leap twice. So essentially think Wesker devolved into a Demogorgon. None of these forms by themselves are really that special or even that powerful, but each form really shines depending on your playstyle or your tactician in a given match. The Bat form is probably your main form of traversal because it helps you get across maps relatively easily. The Vampire form is useful to end a loop with if you can manage to make a Hellfire attack effective.
You done goofed.
Dracula has every tool to be efficient as possible, so you don't have to waste a lot of time on downing one survivor, especially if it's a Fanged Min trying to get your attention. But that's really just the surface on how you can really utilize Dracula. His forms have a lot of potential to be used together, and to achieve that potential, you have to get creative. Get fucking hog wild. Start fucking shape-shifting constantly! A lot of people have been saying that the Bat form is really underwhelming, but because you can see the scratch marks of a survivor, you can cut them off before they get to a pallet or a shack. If you're in the Wolf form and are in a situation where you're in a loop, you can transform into Dracula and try to damage the survivor with a Hellfire attack, and I've already seen some fucking wild clips of how the Hellfire attack is so inconsistent in your favor. Like, what the fuck is this? If you can manage that and the loop turns back into a chase, you can go back to the Wolf form and finish off the survivor. But that's really just the surface with this killer. There's a lot more you can do with all the forms you have, and from the clips I've seen from other people, each form is a lot deeper than we thought. I mean, here's an easy one. Let's say you can't locate a damaged survivor in the Bat form. Well, turn into a wolf and you'll see their blood on the floor. Hashtag lifehack. Dracula's shapeshifting ability gives you a lot of strategy when it comes to approaching any kind of group of survivors, because he's a killer that uses so many aspects about the game to his advantage. He is a little map dependent due to the Bat form's teleport ability relying on windows, so getting across the map might be a bit difficult depending on the map, but it doesn't make Dracula any less weak in my opinion. From his base ability alone, I think Dracula is one of the most fun killers in the game because of his versatility. If you know what you're doing and aren't cockney and uncultured, you know how much this depressed vampire loser can do from his base ability alone. He's a force to be reckoned with in any match, even if it's a bully squad. I've had to go up against one as Dracula, but I'm unironically fucking waiting for it.
What happened to the last one?
Pushed out like a bitch.
He's not the best killer, but what he offers has so much creative potential, and that's not taken into account what perks you use. Due to this and his fucking sick theme, he genuinely feels like a final boss in the game when you're going up against him, even though this quote-unquote a Dark Lord can be hindered by a fucking pallet. However, it isn't all perfect, as behavior they kinda dropped the ball with Dracula's perks, and knowing how fucked this community is, they kinda accidentally introduced bestiality to the game.
Over the last couple of years, we've had some expensive claims.
Like what?
All of the sexual harassment.
I'm not apologizing.
The three perks that come with Dracula are Dominance, Hex, Wretched Fate, and Human Greed. And all these perks are... They aren't awful or even that bad. Hell, I find one really fucking funny. But I do think they're very situational, which is very hit or miss in a game like this. That fucking rhymed, holy shit. The perk Dominance blocks chests for survivors for 8 seconds when they're interacted with for the first time. I don't know, this isn't the worst perk, I think, but so far I really haven't found a use for this perk in any match. It's more so of an annoyance for survivors, if anything. Hex, Wretched Fate, activates and lights a random doll totem when a generator is complete, and the Obsession gets a 33% slowdown on gen progression. Now, this perk does have a lot of potential with working with other perks on gen slowdown, but I really don't see myself using this unless I really want to be a fucking asshole. I just really like the idea of going into a match and randomly going, fuck you specifically on a random survivor. The last perk is Human Greed, which allows you to see unopened chests around the map, and when a survivor gets close to an open chest, you can see their aura. Also, it lets you close and open chests. The last part is kinda useless, but hey, it is a perk if you're paying attention. I don't see any use for this. If you do see a survivor's aura next to a chest, it's probably gonna be most likely so fucking far away that you won't have the time to get to them unless it's a killer with really good mobility like the Unknown or Dredge. And if you do see the survivor's aura close enough, then you would have probably found them anyway. So theoretically, if this perk is only useful when the survivor is really close to you, then just fucking use Nowhere to Hide. It's my fucking favorite perk of the game, so I'm gonna use this instead in any fucking match, so Overall, the perks are conceptually interesting, and I can see them being fun, but considering how fucking seriously every person takes this game, I find it hard to think of scenarios where these perks would be fun and effective to use at the same time. Now, while these perks overall aren't useful, I do like these ideas, and taking into account the previous killer perks we've gotten with Vecna and the Unknown, I think Behavior is on the right track on thinking of new creative perk designs. They might suck, but not everything is a hit. I want newer perks to encourage more interesting builds, and with what they're doing here, we're gonna get more of that. Hell, one of the best perks in recent memory came with the Unknown. So while these are kinda ass, I do think we're not far off from getting more gold. However, the one place where the devs didn't cook, but rather went free fucking Michelin stars with Dracula are his add-ons. I mentioned how Dracula feels like a final boss in the game when you're going up against him. I mean, his music is bombastic, his animations are very fluid and well done, his entire fucking castle shows up in a match, his insane size and stature is just—
Oh, you dirty bitch, work the shaft.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I like to dirty talk when someone's sucking my dick.
Oh. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to say that he actually feels like a boss in Dead by Daylight, but his add-ons make him feel like a final boss. His brown and yellow add-ons just change the percentage on his speed, teleporting, his abilities. You know how yellow and brown add-ons are. Green add-ons are much of the same, just better than the previous ones, but his purple ones— well, they speak for themselves. Medusa's hair causes all survivors within 12 meters of your teleport destination to suffer from a 50% hindered status effect that lasts for 5 seconds. That's pretty good. Not bad at all. Next, Orc's Fangs. The auras of all survivors whose scent orbs you collect are revealed to you for 4 seconds, whenever the pounce attack becomes available. That's also pretty good. Lapis Lazuli blocks the vault locations you teleport for 15 seconds. This is alright. Last one, Cube of Zoe. Whenever a generator is complete, pillars of flame are created randomly around the Dark Lord for the next 10 seconds. Out of all the purple ones, this is my favorite cause— do I have to explain myself? And lastly, the red add-ons for once are actually really good. Iridescent Ring makes your Hellfire attack home in on survivors. I don't personally use this, but it's still pretty useful. But honestly, I just want to get to the one I really want to talk about, which is Alucard Shield. It is easily my new favorite add-on in the entire game. Alucard Shield causes pillars of flame to continuously spawn inside the exit gate.
Oh, shame for you. You activated my Alucard.
You know, these chapters are kinda intended to make people look into these licenses. And, well, Behavior has been exceeding in that department. The D&D chapter got me into D&D, and now after this one, I want to play fucking Castlevania. I absolutely adore Dracula. His gameplay, presentation, and feel are all top-notch. And in the Unintelligent Killer meta, I'm here to judge the fun factor for each killer. And here, I'm going to be putting all the characters in a tier list based on how enjoyable they are. And if I have not made it obvious enough, Dracula is easily going in S tier. While not breaking new ground, Dracula is a very well designed killer that gives you a lot of room for creative gameplay, which is something I deeply appreciate in Dead by Daylight. His perks are ass, and he might have brought a new horrible tag to r/DBD Gone Wild.
I can never have sex again.
But hey, he still manages to shine bright. He is so fucking enjoyable and an amazing addition to the game, and I will continue to play him and actually have fun in this game. Year 9 has been an amazing fucking year for killer mates like myself, from the Unknown to Vecna to now Dracula. All killers that are now some of my favorites. I hope you enjoyed the first video in the Unintelligent Meta series. If you did, please subscribe, as the next killer I'll be taking a look at is the Unknown. In the meantime, I don't know, go watch Castlevania on Netflix. It's a good fucking show, really.